What's going on, everybody? It's me, Brandon, back again with another episode, and today we are talking about the long-awaited Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Let's go ahead and talk about this. After 8 long years, finally Samus returns to the Prime series. This is a long wait, long anticipated video game, a game that has completely been scrapped and remade yet again by Retro Studios. And I gotta say, we'll get right to it in the beginning of this video. Was the wait worth it for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? And to me personally, it was not. We will talk about that, but I don't want to deter from saying that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is a good game. I really enjoyed my time with it, but I think with waiting, there is a lot of expectations. Now, I never really was a Prime fan. I like Prime. I've played Prime on the Metroid trilogy on the Wii, and I've also played Prime Remastered last year or the year before when that came around, and it's great. Metroid Prime is a wonderful game. It's awesome. It does Metroid, excellently. This is how do we transition from 2D to first-person shooter? Take a look right at Metroid Prime. They somehow figured out all of the magic to get Samus from a 2D perspective to a first-person perspective, and it is incredible. It looks good. The graphics are beautiful. Somehow Metroid translated perfectly to an FPS. In my opinion, though, and I've said this in countless other videos I've done on this channel, Metroid to me is about 2D. I love the 2D Metroid games. I think Metroid Dread, which was another game that came out in between all of this, out of nowhere. I think I've done a reaction to Nintendo E3 at that year. I don't remember. If I did, maybe I'll splice it in here. But that was a huge deal. Metroid Dread was this game that came out of nowhere, 2D, side-scroller, and to be blunt with you guys, I think it's the best Metroid I've ever played. I think Dread is incredible. As somebody who would say Zero Mission is probably my favorite Metroid, and then Fusion, and then Super Metroid, I really love those Game Boy games, and Zero Mission and Fusion were just incredible. And having a sequel, basically a direct sequel to Fusion, Metroid 5, with Metroid Dread, was awesome. They somehow figured out how to make Metroid a little more tense with the Emmys. I think the 2D perspective, again, is just awesome. And everything we learned from Metroid 2 Samus Returns, the 3DS remake, it was great. We got everything, in my opinion, everything I could have asked for and wanted through Metroid Dread. We understand why Samus Aran is this badass bounty hunter, and that game showcases her incredibly. There is so much finesse, attitude, and just grace with Samus throughout Metroid Dread. And in Prime 4, that is also a thing. Samus obviously is a renowned bounty hunter, so coming across some side characters, they're like, whoa, I didn't realize I'm amongst greatness, or I can't believe this moment that I'm sharing with Samus Aran. And it's really cool. But Metroid Dread really lifted up the bar. I recommend that game to everybody. If you haven't played Metroid, that's the one I recommend. Play Metroid Dread. If you enjoy it, go play Zero Mission. If you enjoy Zero Mission, go play Fusion. If you enjoy Fusion, go play Super. I really can't argue that. And then somewhere in between, throw the remake of 2 in there. Metroid is so good on the 2D plane. But back to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. With a wait, an 8-year wait for a Metroid Prime game that has been really, I don't know. I find with all these video games that come out now, if we go ahead and if we don't have a proper roadmap, if we don't slowly see things, if things go away and we don't see them for a long time, expectations start to get built up. And when this game got scrapped, I believe a year or two after the first announcement, everybody was like, okay, wow, that must have not have been a good build. We'll wait. So when Prime 4 resurfaced again, obviously everybody's really looking forward to it. But again, with 8 years, there's going to be some expectations. And in my opinion, I think Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is a really good game, and I still recommend it. But with the wait, I thought it fell short. Now, the story of Metroid Prime 4 is Samus is tasked to save a dying race of aliens, and going through her journey, she goes through the desert. She gets Viola, which is that really cool super bike, and she can travel across the desert, go to different locations, and go through them like dungeons and solve the issues at hand, while there is another bounty hunter, Sylux, pursuing Samus. Sylux was a character that was in the background for a while now. I believe he showed up in Prime 3. I believe he showed up in Metroid Prime Federation Force. In this game, we see some reasons why Sylux is hunting Samus. So that is a story beat. And then we also have that story beat of Samus trying to save this alien race. And we come together and we will meet other characters like NPCs. And I think there was a lot of people being upset about these characters you were meeting, at least from what I was seeing online. And I have to say, these characters are not a problem at all. They are fine. I actually think they added a lot of a new feel to Metroid. It was kind of nice. While we are always isolated in Metroid, that's like a staple of the franchise. Having a little bit of communication with one of these characters on the side is actually kind of refreshing. Just to remember, like, hey, I'm alone, but like I have somebody in the distance, like also like on comms. I don't know. And they kept you isolated, but I really didn't mind these side characters. I think they actually worked out really well. And honestly, I found with Prime 4, comparing it to Dread almost all the time while I was playing this game, I found loading screens to be somewhat glaring. Like, I knew when I was in them. I found Dread very stylistically, like when I was in loading screens in that game, I thought they were artistically really beautiful, where she's sitting in the elevator and the light beams are going up and it's reflecting off of her. In this game, when you're bumping into loading screens, you're running for a certain amount of time, you are walking for a certain amount of time. You can just start telling after a while where a loading screen is, and that took me out a little bit. And Samus, not usually saying anything in these games, this game in particular, it just had me wishing there was a little bit more, like maybe a dialogue of some sort here and there. It felt very weird to see a main character not speak a lick of anything. And I don't want to spoil things for other Metroid games, but I think when Samus speaks, when she has in the past, it needs to matter. And obviously you can nod, you can smile, you can do the thumbs up, all this other stuff. But I feel like with Samus, we kind of need to upgrade her and evolve her in a way to have her speak, whether it be another language or something. But I just felt like it's very cold. I don't know. And that's kind of like the style of Metroid. I understand that, but it's just something that stuck out for me. But I found Metroid Prime 4 very Zelda-like, honestly. You go into this desert, you're riding around on Viola, and you see locations in the distance. And this kind of reminded me of Ocarina of Time or like Twilight Princess, where you see your destination, you go there, and that's where the dungeon is. And once you get to that dungeon, you'll get a new ability, and you use that ability throughout the dungeon, and you get to finish that dungeon. You go back to the desert, and you go to other places where these new abilities may work. And there's a really nice like tug of war with this game, where I figure something out, and I know I can go back to that one location. And in Metroid games in the past, sometimes it can feel very, very cryptic. And in this game, it's pretty straightforward, and those NPCs will also remind you while you're in the desert. They're like, hey, if you got any new abilities, I wonder what happened at the ice belt, you know? And it's like, oh, you're right, I could go check that out there. So there were some cool new quality of life improvements to the Metroid franchise. I think when people dive into this game, if they've never played a Metroid game, you don't need to play the original trilogy to enjoy 4. It's its own thing. I think that this game is definitely more accessible in terms of playing games for Metroid, at least, because Metroid has been a headache to new players. It scares them with the Metroidvania aspects, very cryptic nature of Metroid, but I think this game actually has a really good ceiling of challenge, and also a good beginning point for casuals if you want to just at least play a Metroid game. This one is not a bad way to start. But I think, obviously, this wait and everything for Metroid Prime 4, story-wise, just wasn't worth it for me. I felt like this story felt very side questy. There's some cool things that happen in this game, and I think Metroid has never looked better. This is probably the best looking Metroid and Samus that we have ever seen. Everything looks super high res. It almost looks like Halo, in the best form of Halo. It looks so beautiful when we see Samus just roaming around, and you see the reflections off her suit and the lighting. It's beautiful, seriously. And I couldn't believe how good this game looked. But the story ultimately just had me wishing for more. And again, with the expectations of what this game could have been, with all of that, the stretch from the announcement to now, I think the game just kind of ends up in this is a good Metroid game, but like it's not this grand thing I think everybody was hoping for. And ultimately, it's just another Metroid game that I can recommend. Now, that may sound like a really good thing. Well, hey, you love Metroid, you wanted more Metroid, you got the thing, and I did. I got the thing. But after Metroid Dread, I was okay. I got my thing. Just like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I got the thing. I got what I wanted. I can rest easy now. With Metroid Prime 4, I was like, well, I'm very excited to check it out. It's going to be cool. There's some great new amiibos, and we're going to check out this new game. Hopefully it's going to be great. But I had Dread a couple years ago, probably 4 years ago or something now, and that game was amazing. And that game gave me everything I wanted. I want a new 2D Metroid game now. I don't really care too much about another Prime. And unfortunately, I still feel that way. So I kind of hate feeling like I'm a downer on this video, but Metroid Prime is good, but for me, I still will prefer the 2D, and I think I will always prefer the 2D Metroid games. So at the end of this video, all I can really say is I recommend Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, but ultimately, this game wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. It felt like a side quest the entire time. Nothing felt grand. I felt like some of the stuff that I was questioning was answered. Like, we see some stuff about Silux, and we see some stuff about what's going on in this game. But ultimately, I think with the expectation, I was expecting something huge and grand, and this game kind of just feels like another Metroid tale. And that's not bad, like I said, but it's just with time, from the announcement to release, expectations come into play, and well, sometimes it doesn't stick the landing. But I think Metroid is really cool, and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is really cool with its psychic capabilities, and some new stuff like Viola I thought was pretty interesting. I didn't mind the desert and riding around. This game felt very old school Zelda in a way that we haven't felt a Zelda game in a long time. Proper, obviously we have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but I liked it. I didn't love it. And I'm ready for another 2D Metroid game. So the wait wasn't worth it, but here we are. We're playing more games. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally out. Finally happy to at least say I played it. And just look at some of these amazing amiibo, like Viola and Samus. Incredible. These probably the best amiibos that I now own. I got her, and then I got Silux and Samus right here. Thanks to my friend Matt for picking these up for me. Amiibos aren't that hard to find anymore, but just grabbing them just to be safe is cool. And I always have to get the Metroid amiibos. I always have to get those. So that's it for this episode today. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Did you play it? Were you interested in it? What's your favorite Metroid game? Please let me know in the comments down below. As always, my name is Brandon, and I will see you all next time.